We asked Dr. Kraszewski and a couple of Clayton students what they have seen regarding the lack of diversity in honors level classes.
About a quarter of our students are students of color. That's not what you see in our honors classes and our AP classes. That's been pretty consistent with my experience for the past 17 years. It kind of causes us to question why our honors classes don't look, in terms of demographically, the same as our general student population.
They maintain a decent amount of diversity within the actual class itself, but that diversity I feel like starts to break down once you move into talking about what classes specifically people are taking.
Last year, I know I was the only African American student in my honors English class. Being that changed treatment a little bit. Teachers treat them differently, almost kind of like the token black student.
I think diversity is really important because diversity in any sense, if you're talking about diversity in terms of the race or the gender, and any type of diversity contributes to diversity of ideas.
We asked CHS how we could better integrate the high school.
I think a lot of those structures and those practices that limit the diversity that we see in some of the high school honors classes begin well before freshman year of high school. And so I think we need to look at our practices as a district, and that could be an awareness of how taking certain courses impacts you further down the road.
I think first you have to realize that you have, at least within, I can only speak to within my own class and what I see as the class of 2018. But I see students that I know could be in honors classes, and in that I've seen two things happen. One, there are very few other black students who opt to take those classes. And then the second thing is that when they do, especially the ones that I saw earlier in middle school or in early, like freshman year, early high school, ended up dropping those classes.
That's what students need, is kind of like a push, because without a push, they won't do it because they'll think it's too hard.
There needs to be a way to group these students together, or we need teachers or we need teachers to focus more on making sure that students who have the potential, who might need slightly different instruction, are able to get it.
Everyone has a level of kind of implicit bias that they may or may not recognize, and I think that the more that we have these conversations, the more that we examine our own kind of, biases and are willing to talk about them, I think that the more aware we become, and then ultimately the better we're able to respond to them.
This has been Aaron Zoll and Sophia Fish reporting for GET.